This is worksheet 3 of the stoichiometry packet, and this is the last of the new information before we get to worksheet 4, which is a review. More good news, if you have mastered worksheet 1 and worksheet 2, worksheet 3 is certainly going to be the easiest of the worksheets in this packet. Worksheet 3 is practicing volume to volume problems. So what this means, and you'll want to write this down, is that you will be given information about one compound in liters, and you will be asked to find information about another compound also in liters. So note that there are no grams here, which means that there are no molar masses to calculate. The only conversion that you are going to use on this type of problem is that 1 mole equals 22.4 liters. So let's look at an example problem. In this example, we are asked to solve for volume in liters of oxygen, and we are told that we have 44.8 liters of propane, C3H8. So, like always, we'll start down here with the balanced equation that is provided. We will pull out of the problem that we have 44.8 liters of the propane and that we want to find the number of liters of oxygen. So that could be a question mark there. We will note that we are not dealing with either of the products in this equation. So again, I really want to emphasize it's a good idea right now to cross those out so they don't sneak into your calculation. We can see by looking at the coefficients, since there's no coefficient on the propane, that means we have 1 mole of it, and this 5 here tells us that we will need 5 moles of oxygen. Instead of going next to calculate molar mass, we can just go right on to the factor label problem. So, we want to know the number of liters of oxygen. We've been given that we have 44.8 liters of propane. We are still going to have 3 steps. Every factor label in this packet should. Our first step is going to convert between moles and liters. So, we have liters of propane on the top here. We are going to put liters of propane on the bottom. 22.4 liters of propane is equal to 1 mole of propane. It is still very important to not just put liters and moles in your labels, but liters of propane and moles of propane. Because that's how you know the direction for the second step, the mole to mole step. So as always, the second step is always the mole to mole step. And in this case, we want to put the 1 mole of propane down here on the bottom, because if we have moles of propane on the bottom in the second step and moles of propane on the top in the first step, they cancel out. The 5 moles of oxygen will then go on the top of the second step. And in our third step, since we want to solve in liters, that's what we're asked to solve for, we again need to use the liter to mole step. Now we're going to flip-flop compared to the first step, what's on the top and the bottom. And that's because we've got moles of oxygen on the top of our second step, so we want moles of oxygen on the bottom of our third step so that they cancel out. That leaves us with units of liters of oxygen, which is what we're solving for. And I'm going to go through and multiply just like always. 44.8 liters times 5 times 22.4, then divided by 22.4. That should give me a number that I can round to 224 liters of oxygen. Now, there's a little note here, and if this confuses you, just completely ignore what I'm about to say. But some of you who are comfortable with math are going to notice that you have in this problem 22 liters first on the bottom right here and then 22 liters on the top right here, which means that first you multiply by 22.4 liters and then you divide by 22.4 liters. In other words, both the numerator, the part on top, and the denominator, the part on the bottom, have the same number in them, which means that the 22.4 cancels itself out. And this is always true in just worksheet 3 volume-to-volume problems. What I'm saying is that in this worksheet and this worksheet alone, you could have gotten this answer of 224 liters simply by multiplying the 44.8 by the 5. Again, this only works on this worksheet. It does not work on worksheet 1, mass-to-mass problems, or worksheet 2, mass-to-volume problems, because you don't have in those problems 22.4 as both the numerator and the denominator. In other words, you don't both multiply and divide by that same number. So, only use this shortcut if you understand when to use it. If what I just said in my little side note confuses you, just go through and multiply the 44.8 times 5 times 22.4 and then divide by 22.4 again. That's a surefire way to get the correct answer. But if you feel comfortable understanding when to use a shortcut, it will be a little bit faster. We will continue working on these problems the next time we meet in class, and then we will move right on to worksheet 4, which is a review.